I am not a therapist or a medical professional. I am a spiritualist, community healer, and Mambo in training with over 20 years experience. Also, this video was recorded in the legendary Denver coffee house, Gypsy House Cafe. Please excuse any coffee house noises you hear in the background. Hi everybody, it's your favorite hood witch, it's your favorite hood high priestess, it's your favorite hood healer, Lady Speech in the place to be, and I want to welcome you back to my channel. You could be anywhere in the world, but yet you are here with me. Your time and your attention are very valuable currency, and I appreciate you spending a little bit of that on me. If you're feeling me, if you're feeling this, if you're feeling me, and if you like what you see, I want you to hit that like button and I want you to hit that subscribe button. Also, feel encouraged and empowered to leave a comment, but keep it cute, because I'm a for real whole human over in these parts. How you doing today? How you doing today, this evening, this afternoon, whenever you are watching this? New year, new decade, who dis? New year, new decade, old trauma, who dis? Happy New Year, guys. Happy New Year. And although I don't normally subscribe to the hype that surrounds the Gregorian calendar, I am actually excited for this new transition. I'm excited for this new year. I'm excited for this new decade. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling this transition. I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling excited for what we are going to bring, what I'm going to bring. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling this new year, new decade, new me, new all of that. But let's talk about the fact that even if you plan on improving your finances, even if you plan on improving the way you eat, even if you plan on improving whatever aspect of your life you are improving, I want to remind us that we are still taking our old wounding and our old trauma with us, okay? Let's talk about it. Trigger warning. This is the part of the video before we get too deep where I warn you that we are gonna get real deep. And if you are a survivor, if you are easily triggered, if you're moving through your healing right now, this is a good opportunity to assess if you want to continue on with this video. We will be talking about being a survivor of child rape, molestation, sexual assault. That is going to be mentioned in here, okay? So trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning. This is your opportunity to click off of this video. If you choose to go on, let's get into the healing, okay? So, I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor of child rape. I'm a survivor of child molestation. I'm a survivor of rape as a young woman. I'm a survivor. I've survived a lot of things. I've survived parents who were, well, a mother, a biological mother, who was addicted to a lot of drugs and was very hurt and was very wounded. And because of that, and in that, and through that, and from that, she ended up not being the greatest mother to me. I have a father who survived a lot of craziness. And because of that, and because of the lack of resources when it came to healing and when it came to improving himself, and also some very real decisions he made in his life, he ended up harming me in some very, very detrimental ways. I've survived child rape. I've survived child molestation. I've survived sexual exploitation as a young woman. I've survived a lot of things. I have been working, I'm in my 30s these days, and I've been working since I was 18 years old to heal myself. I've been working since I was 18. I've been dedicated. I have been in the lifestyle of healing since I was 18 years old. And I come from the school of thought that healing is a journey, not a destination. I come from the school of thought that healing is not linear. It is a spherical, spiral-like line and essence that travels up and out and down and around and all that good stuff. I come from the school of thought that healing happens on 4 bodies: the emotional body, the mental body, the spiritual body, and the physical body. Okay, so this is where I come from. So even though I have been in a lifestyle of healing since I was 18 years old, even though I've been addressing the different levels of abuse that I've experienced, from sexual abuse to spiritual abuse to mental abuse to emotional abuse to societal abuse, even though I have been addressing oppression since 18 years old, even though I have been addressing ancestral healing since I have been 18 years old, and I am years and years and years and years and years deep in the game, what this lifestyle of healing has taught me is that there is always something to heal. And even when you go through spaces of transition, and even when you go through spaces of rebirth, there is always something to heal. We come from hundreds upon thousands of ancestors deep within our line, and all of those experiences, all the pain and the trauma, well, I won't say all of them, but I will say a lot of that pain and trauma, even victory, from the good things to the bad things to the ugly things to the beautiful things, that is stored in our DNA. And the biggest things that are stored in our DNA is the ancestral trauma that our people have gone through. So healing is a lifestyle, number one, for that reason, because not only are we unraveling, not only are we tasked with really addressing our own pain, our own trauma, we are tasked with addressing the trauma and the pain that was gifted to us by our ancestors. Just like we have our great-grandmother's eyes, and you have your great-great-great-great auntie's hands, and you have your great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather's feet, and you have your great-grandmother's, eyes, we also have great-granddaddy's pain. We also have great-grandmother's short temper. We also have daddy's dysfunction, okay? So healing is a whole lifestyle. It is a whole journey, and it is not a destination, all right? So when we think about wounding, and especially when we think about deep wounding that comes from trauma, physical trauma, emotional trauma, societal trauma, whatever traumas that we have, that we've come from, that we've sustained, they create these wounds inside of us. And some of these wounds, depending on the depth of the trauma, the depth of the experience, how long we've gone without healing, the intersection of that trauma with where we were developing, mentally, emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, all of those things factor into what can be healed, what can't be healed, what can be eradicated, what can't be eradicated, the nature of what it is that you're dealing with in the woundings, all of that, all of those things factor into the healing stuff, okay? All of those things. I do want to say this. There are spaces when you make healing your lifestyle, when you approach the healing road as a journey and not a destination, you will eradicate some things. You will heal some things. You will stop some things. You will break some cycles. You will get to spaces and be done with certain behaviors and be done with certain things, to be done with certain symptoms. You will do that. And there's also things that you're not going to heal. There's also cycles that you may not break, that you're going to put a dent in, but that you may not break completely. There's also things that you're not going to all the way heal, but that healing journey is still not in vain. You will be able to manage yourself better. You will be able to medicate yourself better. You will be able to treat yourself better. You will be able to understand how you act, what you need, what environments work for you, what things don't work for you. You will be able to improve your quality of life, no matter what, if you engage in the lifestyle of healing, okay? This is an invitation to really go deep. This is an invitation to look at sexual dysfunction. This is an invitation to look at the root of things, to look at the root of our sexual dysfunction, to look at the root of our mental health, illnesses, or whatever issues that we're dealing with. So if you're feeling this new year, new me, new decade, new you, all of that stuff, more power to you. I encourage you to fall all the way into that. I encourage you to get all the way into that. Do it. But I also encourage you to not just attack the symptoms, to attack the root. I encourage you to really look at the root of things so that a real transformation can take place. So a deep-rooted, bone-deep, blood-deep, rebirth can take place. A lot of times resolutions don't stick. A lot of times these things don't stick. You start out good. I'm going to stop smoking, and you do good for the first 2 weeks. You do good for the first 3 months, and then you get back to doing your old lifestyle. I'm going to go to the gym. The first 3 months of all the gyms are always like super packed. And then after month 3, people start calming down and leaving the gym, because a lot of times we're only attacking, or we're only going after our life changes from a superficial perspective. We're not going deeper into the root. We're not sitting that deep into the root. So I invite us to go to the root, to go all the way to the root. If you will have survived extreme violence by the hands of anyone, if you grew up in the hood and the hood was violent, and you grew up in a war zone, you've got PTSD issues. If you grew up being molested, if you grew up being sexually assaulted, if you have that in your past, you have issues. If you have daddy issues, if you have mama issues, you got issues. You might have issues because of, because of whatever. Being a survivor of, assault and sexual abuse and extreme physical violence created a slew of mental issues with me. The biggest things, especially when I was younger, was clinical depression and suicidal ideation and anxiety. I had really bad anxiety and very bad panic attacks. I wasn't able to name these things until I left the house. I wasn't able to name this until I left my family, and I started my lifestyle of healing, and I got a hold of this information and the language and the vocabulary and the resources to let me know and inform me of what I had going on. I suffered with those bad, and that was the result of having a mother in my early life who was messed up and full of her wounds herself, and didn't have a lot of resources, didn't have a lot of help, and ended up damaging me. Left me with bad people who took advantage of me, who molested me, who raped me as a child, who completely disrespected me, who had me doing the most depraved things, who did very sexually exploitive things that were not cool to me. I survived a father who doled out some extreme violence. We're not talking about run-of-the-mill spankings, though I got that. We're talking about being stripped all the way naked and being tied to poles and beaten, being hog-tied. Look up hog-tying in the rodeo. Look up that. That's what my daddy did to me. So from being hog-tied and stripped naked and being beaten with boards and extension cords, to have my father running his fist, beating me. Fists in the face, hands into face, fists into bodies, thrown into walls, pushed into concrete, pushed on the ground, extreme violence. Not to mention the years of mental and emotional abuse that was doled out. And on top of that, the spiritual abuse that I experienced from growing up Jehovah's Witness. That is a whole nother set of videos that we're going to get into as well. But the spiritual turmoil and oppression that I experienced from growing up Jehovah's Witness and being a dark-skinned, thicker, dark-skinned black woman, all of those intersections and all of those things happening at fundamental, formal, molding times in my life, having extreme abuse, extreme situations go down when my mind is developing, when pathways in my brain are developing, when my personality is developing. Because of all of those intersections, I had a lot of issues, and I don't have as many issues, but I still do have issues. I am definitely not afraid to be one of those healers that's who admits their humanity. I'm a good healer, and I've been a good healer, and I've been in the practice of healing for the last 20 years, and I'm a good healer because I'm the healer that I needed. All right, I'm a good healer because my first client is always first and foremost myself. I'm always creating medicine for myself. I'm always generating healing spaces for myself. I'm always generating healing because I'm always going to other healers. I have personal healers. I have older healers. I have peer healers. I have younger healers. I have people who give me medicine, who work on me, okay? I am the healer that I needed. And a lot of the healers that I know are good because we are the healers that our mamas, our daddies, our parents, our papas, our grandmas, our people needed, okay? So I say that to say healing is a whole lifestyle. It's something that you commit to forever. It's not something that like you go to therapy and you're like, I'm healed, I'm cured. Nah, healing is forever, and there are going to be different pieces of your journey. There are going to be different pieces of your wounds. There's going to be different pieces of your pain that you bite off and chew and process and spit out, or digest and process and do whatever that you need to do. You're never ever going to bite off all of it, especially when we talk about children of the colonized and children of the formerly enslaved. Okay, the atrociousness, the horribleness that our ancestors lived through is a recent history. Number one, it's a recent history, and the things that happened to colonize us were devilish. They were horrific. They were dehumanizing in the most grotesque of ways. And those stories, whether or not we speak to them, whether or not we know them, that story lives in our blood and our veins, okay? And whether or not we address it, it addresses us. Whether or not we address it, it addresses us. I'm always saying, do the work or the work does you, which means do your work, heal, go to the root of your wounds. Look at your pain and your tragedy straight on and straight up. Because if you don't, it does you. Your pain, your depression, the things that you have been suppressing. If you do not do the work, it does you. It comes out. Your mental dysfunction comes out. Your emotional dysfunction comes out. Your stuff comes out, okay? So do the work, or the work does you. And there's parts to this, and there's levels to this, all right? There's levels to it. Please acknowledge and give yourself credit for the work that you have done. Also acknowledge that like there's going to be moments, days, weeks, months where you got it, where you are walking forward, moving, elevating, and then you take 14 steps back, or you regress, or you fall off, or you start doing things that you haven't done in years. Don't beat yourself up. Just get clear in where you're at, what you're doing. Forgive yourself, show yourself some gentleness and some compassion. Acknowledge that healing is not linear. It is not a straight line. It's more like a spiral. Acknowledge that. Give yourself credit for what you have done. Give yourself credit for what you are doing. Give yourself credit for the way that you are walking and the fact that you're on the healing path. And then just assess where you're at, assess what you need, and act accordingly. Do what you got to do to get back on the right track. All right, do what you got to do to get back on the right track. So I think it's important to understand too that when we heal, you keep your experiences with you, and you heal the symptoms. You get past a lot of the crappy stuff that, the trashy stuff, the symptoms that have formed and been given to you by your trauma. But I think it's important to say that, like, as you transition and grow, you will be invited into looking at your wounding. You will be invited into looking at your issues from the new perspective that you now are coming from. All right. So, for example, when I was in a homeless shelter, and I've had a very crazy life, but when I was a teenager and I transitioned from my house and my family, I was in a homeless shelter. And in that homeless shelter, I was raped. I was raped by a young man who was my boyfriend. And we ended shortly after that, of course. I was so broken, and I was so hurt by everything, by losing my family, my whole life being created, recreating, and like ending. Everything that I knew ended, and I was starting this new life. I was solely responsible for it, and I was also the only one in it because I left everyone. In that situation, I was already in a lot of pain. I was already carrying a lot, and that rape devastated me. I ended up conceiving a child from that, and then I ended up losing that baby from that. And it took me actually a full year after it was a year after the anniversary of when my kid would have been born. And when that hit, and I was way more stable. I had an apartment. I was on my own. I was actually in college, and like I ended up, the anniversary of when I would have had my kid came, and I lost it. I fell apart. And that was the first time that I actually admitted that my child was conceived by rape, and that I was raped in a homeless shelter. It was the first time I really had the space and the opportunity to really acknowledge and hold my own space for what had happened to me. And I lost my mind. I went crazy. I absolutely positively went crazy. And I healed myself, and I engaged in my healing. I did all the things. I learned a lot and all that stuff. Over the years, I've been different. I've been increased versions of myself, or I've been better versions of myself. I've undertaken and I've undergone a lot of rebirth, a lot of transformation, a lot of transmutation, a lot of transcendence. But even with that, as I become better versions of myself, as I become an upgraded version of myself, I always got to revisit those wounds as a new version of myself. And when I've done the healing that I've done, it doesn't mean that I revisit those wounds in the same space that I was when I received that wound. But it does mean that that experience is always with me, and I will readdress things as I become a new person. And whatever healing that comes with that is whatever healing that comes with that. So if I'm ever given the opportunity, I'm definitely fulfilling my motherhood in other ways. I lost, like I said, I was pregnant from that rape and from that violation. I lost that baby, went crazy, and I have not had I have not been pregnant again. And I have not carried a biological child. If I am ever given that opportunity to be pregnant again and to carry a biological child and to give birth to that child and to raise that baby, I'm going to have to re-examine what happened to me from the perspective of being a biological mother. I'm not a biological mother right now, but I am a community mother. I have participated in helping my friends raise their kids. I participated in helping the community raise babies, from teaching to just personal, intimate co-parenting with my friends. And I've had to, taking on that role of community mother, I had to re-examine myself and in those issues and those woundings from that aspect of motherhood. And also, like, I will, if I become a biological mother, now I will be in the position that my biological mother was when she had me. And so I will have to, that'll be a whole other can of worms that gets opened up, and a whole completely different perspective that I will look at. So new year, new you, new decade, same pain, same trauma. And that doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't grow. It doesn't bloom into something else. It doesn't take a different shape unless you do something with it, unless you go into it, unless you use this as an invitation to heal things at the root, okay? And that is really the point of this video, is an invitation to get into the root. So if you are a survivor and you are having issues or things are coming up around old wounding, I invite you to do whatever you need to do to heal. I invite you to look at healing on all four of the bodies: the mental body, the emotional body, the physical body, the spiritual body. I invite you to get into those parts of your body. I invite you to ask each aspect of those bodies what they need to be well, what they need to heal, what they need to get better, what they need, you know, what resources that they need, and then listen and honor those things. If your body needs mindful movement, if it needs more positive touch, if it needs to not have sex, if it needs to have more, you know, connective spiritual sex, if it needs to have, you know, chiropractic work, if you need to be exercising more, if you need to be exercising less, listen. If your body is like, we want more meat, we want no meat, you know, listen. If your body's like, we want more cultural foods, more indigenous foods, less processed foods, listen. If your body is like, we like this person, we don't like this person, listen, okay, and honor that. If your mind is like, we need therapy, then find yourself a culturally competent therapist to help you. If your mind is like, we need to emote, we need to express, you know, talk to your family, process it in journals, write it out, talk to yourself, talk to your spiritual team, talk to God, talk to the ancestors, talk to your physical team, your mama, your daddy, your support system, okay? Ask the spirit, the emotional body what it needs. Does it need to cry? Does it need to emote? Does it need to yell? Does it need to engage in the arts to like really, really get it out and process it? Ask the spiritual body what it needs. Do you need prayer? Do you need ritual? What do you need? Yoga? What do you need? And honor those things so that we can be well, and so that we can also truly rebirth, so that we can truly rebirth, so that we can use these moments where we are recreating ourselves, or we are rebirthing, and actually do something really amazing with these moments and make them stick and heal not only ourselves for real, but recode our DNA, heal ancestral pain, heal familial pain, heal our own pain. We carry the pain of our ancestors at least 7 to 9 to 12 generations in our blood and in our DNA. We carry the most extreme emotions and tragedy and trauma that they experience. So whatever you experience in your life and you don't heal, the ancestors that come after us, they got to deal with it, just like we are dealing with the pain of our other ancestors. If you have the resources, the time, if you have, the privilege to seek out your healing, do so. Because there's aspects of our ancestry that didn't have the time. They were too busy surviving. They didn't have the resources. They didn't have the privileges, and they didn't have the opportunities. If you do, take advantage of those things and seek help and heal. And no matter what transition, no matter what rebirth, if you're doing it on your birthday, if you're doing it because it's a new decade, new year, always use these opportunities to invite yourself into deeper root work healing. All right? Remember, my loves, healing is a whole journey. It's not a destination. So that's it for today. This video was on my heart to do. Spirit told me to do it. So I did it. And I hope you enjoy it. Feel free to comment. Feel free to like this video if you are feeling it. Feel free to, don't forget to hit the notification button. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can keep up with all my adventures and all of my shenanigans. I am restarting this YouTube, so this is going to look like what it's going to look like until I find my groove. But I have a feeling these types of videos are going to make an appearance quite a bit. So these just random talking videos, sermon videos, these random thought videos, I have a feeling you're going to catch a lot of these. So let me know in the comments what you would like to hear from me. Let me know in the comments what type of videos you'd like to see from me. Let me know in the comments what type of comments, not type of comments, but type of content you would like to see from me. For all of my subscribers, thank you so much. Thank you so much for all of my subs who have been here when I wasn't being consistent, when I was erratic, when the content was all over the place. Thank you to the new subscribers. I really appreciate you. I love you so dearly. Thank you to all of you who take the time to listen to me. If you made it this far in the video, gold star for you, gold star for you, gold star for you. Don't forget to follow me on social media. I am on all the social medias, not all the social medias, that's a lie, but most of the social medias. If you're on Facebook, I've got a Facebook artist page like that. It is Lady Speech. If you're on Instagram, it's Lady Speech. If you are on Snapchat, Magic Lady Speech. If you're on Tumblr, Lady Speech Sankofa. Just Google me, loves. Lady Speech everything. All Lady Speech everything. The website is coming soon. The website is coming soon. So ladyspeech.com in the house. I did have a website for like 7 years. 5 years. It was a good website. It was really good. Then I took it down because, the times change and I wasn't really doing what I needed to do with the website. Now I'm ready. I'm going to have some merch for you. I'm going to have some blogs for you. I'm going to have some pictures and some videos in my schedule for you. So stay tuned for all that good stuff. Again, you could have been anywhere, but you are here with me, and I appreciate that. Your time and your attention is currency. So thank you for spending that with your favorite Auntie Captain Goddess, with your favorite hood healer, with your favorite hood priestess, with your favorite hood witch, Lady Speech, Sankofa, and the place to be. Good night, good evening, good day, good afternoon to you and yours, and to me and mine. And I'll see your lovely behind next time. I love you.